A couple of months ago, I was having conversations with people and they were asking me for advice. What could I give them a suggestion for someone who is starting out working from home, particularly knowledge workers? I said that looking back on it, I could offer lots of advice, but the big thing for me would be not to make sacrifices in 3 key areas, which I have done in the past and I deeply regret. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about those 3 key areas that I'm not willing to compromise on in order to be more productive. The ironic thing is, I find that when I follow through and do all these things, I'm usually more productive anyway. So let's dive into it. Hey, I'm Kelly Fancher. I'm a father of 6, I'm a full-time software developer at Rescue Time and Dean of Digital Campus at Signum University. On this channel, I talk about productivity tips so that you can get more done in less time so you can spend more time with your friends, family, or doing your own creative pursuits. As I said, today I'm going to talk about the 3 areas of my life that I don't want to sacrifice anymore in for false productivity. And the first of these is health. Whenever I'm in crunch time or fall prey to hustle culture, I tend to neglect it in 3 key areas. The first of these, and usually the most obvious, is diet. Now, of the 3, maintaining a healthy diet is usually the least time intensive. Yolanda and the kids help prepare meals. I only usually do that a couple times a week, so it really doesn't take too much time. However, when I'm in the middle of that hustle culture and really trying to get things done and just kind of overwhelmed and stressed with work, I snack a lot. And I don't really want some healthy salad. I just want a pile of chocolate chip cookies and a glass of milk, or some other thing that's really not that good for me. It provides that instant gratification that just makes me feel good and just kind of calm down at the end of the day. The problem is the next day I usually feel worse and I'm less productive as a result. The 2 areas that really do require a time commitment from me are exercise and sleep. There are some people out there who can get by with a few hours of sleep, but I just can't seem to function on any less than 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And for me, this is usually from 10 to 5 or 10 to 6. Now you may think that the struggle would be going to bed even later and later, trying to stay up later to fit in a couple extra hours of work. No, that's not usually where it happens for me. The big issue is on the reverse side, the morning side, when I don't tend to wake up when I want to. You see, after a couple of days of this, stressful productivity culture, hustle nonsense, I just don't feel like work anymore. I'm not enthusiastic about life anymore, and I'm not motivated to get out of bed. As such, I'll sleep in bed till 7 or 8, sometimes even 9, I guess, on the weekends, and I don't get anything done as a result of that. Now, it may be different for you, but for me, if I don't wake up early, I don't get anything done that day. I don't know what it is. I just don't have that drive, that motivation, that enthusiasm for life that I need to have a fulfilling day if I don't rise early. So the ironic thing is, unlike most of the things on the list here, my no compromise for sleep is maintaining fewer hours of sleep, no more than 7 or 8, not 5 to 6. Now, sure, from time to time, the opposite happens and I get fewer hours of sleep, but usually that's because I stay up way too late reading a book. Hey, Brandon Sanderson, that's you right now. Almost done with Stormlight Archive. Then I can catch up on sleep, maybe? Okay, no, I do need to go to bed earlier. Anyway, and let's talk about exercise. I would say I enjoy running and calisthenics, but it seems to be the most tolerable form of exercise I've found for myself. Unfortunately, they both take time. And when I'm in the middle of a workday, I don't really want to take the time to step out and do those. Or if I plan on going for a run in the morning, I want to get started with work right away. I don't want to jump right into an exercise routine. I want to go to my office and sit down in front of the computer. The thing is, when I start mistreating these 3 key areas of my health, things start to go out of whack pretty soon. Sure, I may be fine for a week or 2, but anything after that, I tend to lose it and my days become less and less productive as time goes on. I can't stress this enough. Yes, maintaining a healthy life takes time. But the thing is, if you don't take that time, you won't be productive. You'll be so much more productive if you take the time to exercise, if you take the time to get the proper amount of sleep, and if you take the time and maintain the discipline to eat a healthy diet. Next up are relationships, and the first and foremost of these is my marriage to Yolanda. We've been married now for 11 years, and I can say that honestly, each year has gotten better and better, which is as it should be. But I know that I have not given Yolanda the time that she needs or deserves. I find myself too wrapped up in my own world, thinking that I need to spend extra time in the office, get more stuff done, so that in the future, some distant future, I can spend more time with Yolanda. Unfortunately, this just doesn't work. This hurts our relationship right here in the now. The same is true, perhaps even more so, no, definitely even more so, with the children. A couple of weeks ago, we were blessed with our 6th child. Now, I know some of you may be saying, well, whoa, Kelly, 6 children, that is way too much. You must be going insane. And okay, yeah, there are those moments when life is a bit crazy here, and I do feel like pulling out whatever hair I have left, but it has been a blessing. Unfortunately, like spending time with my wife, in the past I haven't taken the time to spend with my children as I should. I figure they'll be there. I can do this next week. Unfortunately, next week becomes next month, which becomes next year. If you constantly push that way, you won't form the relationships with your children that, they really need and you really need for a fulfilling life. And finally, of course, our friends. And this is the same as with a spouse or children. If you don't invest time in a relationship, well, nothing will come of it. You need to invest that time if you are to build those relationships. And for me, those are the fulfilling part of life. I love the time I get to spend with my friends, and they are few and far between. And so I need to take every opportunity that I can to invest in those relationships to just build long-lasting connections. And the final of the 3 areas that I'm no longer willing to compromise on is my inner self. Now, yes, I know that's a bit cheesy. The thing is, each of these categories had 3 subpoints, and I didn't really have a general, title for this category. But they all have to do with my inner self, so that's what we're going with. Now, the first of these is really the most important, and that is my daily quiet time. Now, for me, this works out best if it's the first thing in the morning. This is a time for me to go into my devotions, to pray a bit, to spend some time in solitude and reflecting on what I've read in the Bible. Out of all the other areas I've talked about so far, this is the one area where I notice immediately that same day if I don't follow through with it. Yes, if I skip a morning run one day, that rest of the day is usually fine. It's when I do it repeatedly over a couple of weeks that tends to build up into a bigger issue. For me, if I miss out on my morning quiet time, that whole day usually is just full of more stress, more anxiety, and as a result, less productivity and less fulfillment in the day. Next up is creativity. Okay, now this one's a bit of an odd one and is the most recent addition to the list, but last year when I finished up my master's thesis at Sigmund University, I just felt kind of empty afterwards. I felt like I had no purpose, no vision, no aim for my life, which wasn't true. It's just that's the kind of feeling that I had. And this went on for far too long, several months, until I decided to sit down and do a life review and figure out, okay, what's missing here? What am I not doing that I should be doing, or what am I doing that I shouldn't be doing? And I realized it was because I didn't have a creative outlet for my life anymore, or I wasn't making time for them. You see, creativity is something which is so important to me. It may not be important to you, but you probably have something else which is equally important. Who knows what that is? You figure that out. And so every single day, I try to do something which is creative. This can be practicing my penmanship. This can be just working on a card. This can be, doing some blacksmithing or some sewing or whatever it is. I just want to create. And while I don't have to do this every single day, in fact, out of everything that I've talked about so far, this is the one that I can probably go the longest point of time without feeling that lack. I still do try to do something creative every single day. I mean, after all, that's where almost all of my hobbies lie. Okay, and the final subpoint is just general reading or study. Reading has been my longest lived hobby. It was the one I picked up when I was the youngest, and it has been the one that has been carried with me all throughout life. And so no matter what, I try to make sure that I spend time every single day reading. This can be fiction, it can be nonfiction. Usually it's fiction, but I have been reading more and more nonfiction lately. You see, I just love stories. I love what they can teach you. I talked about that actually in a video that I'll link up here, one of the sides, about why you should read fiction and how you can learn from fiction. So that's it. These are the 3 areas of no compromise productivity: my health, my relationships, and my inner self. Now, the thing is, I say these are the 3 areas that I am not willing to compromise on. Unfortunately, these are still the 3 areas of my life where I find if I'm under pressure, these are the first things to give. It's absolutely ridiculous because I know from personal experience that if I do care about my health, if I do take time for relationships and just care for my inner self as well, through my morning devotions and other things, that I will be more productive. It's as simple as that. I have the time track data and my journals to prove that. The thing is, I still don't know what it is, but if I'm under pressure, these are the first things to go. I'm looking at finding ways and systems in my life that will hold me accountable to make sure I do these every single day. I'm always open for tips, so please hit me up. If you have any ideas of how you keep and ensure you do the important things in your life versus the urgent or whatever else comes in your life, please let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, till next time, bye. And for me, this is usually from 10 to 5 or 10. I don't feel like getting up. I'm not enthused. I am not enthusiastic. And I said that looking back on it, I'm gonna redo that whole creativity section.